Okay, so obesity is my topic, and I think that a lot of people think that obesity just happens because you eat too much food and you can't control yourself, so you're fat. But I don't think that's the whole case. I think it has a lot to do with cultural, like people, like the way that they were raised, grown up, the way that they eat, the way that their families and traditions, and the way that it was passed down. And so a lot of people don't know that those things are like really unhealthy for you and can cause you to become obese. And I think that they're just used to eating that way with their family. And then another thing that I was thinking about was, poverty. Like a lot of people are like low income, don't really have a lot of money. They can't really afford the nutritious foods that are out there in order to keep them at a healthy weight. So then they become obese because they can't afford to live that healthier lifestyle. Another thing is environment. If you're living next to like only like gas stations and you can't really get to like the big areas that have a lot of healthier foods and you only live next to a gas station that you can only get to that only has like processed foods and not like healthy foods on hand, so you have to like get what you can in order to get by. And so I think that has a lot to do with why people are obese, is because they can't really afford to live a way that will make them healthy. In a lot of other places, they live off of like greasy foods, fatty foods, and that's just the way that they were brought up. Another thing that I was thinking was that, a lot of advertising really puts people at risk for becoming obese because they have stuff that's on the radio that's making you think about food, and they talk about it like it's just the best thing on the planet, but you never see them advertising like healthier foods like salads and like really whole wheat sandwiches that are like on billboards out there. Normally it's a big juicy cheeseburger and everybody's thinking about that food, and so then they go eat that with their families. And a lot of healthier foods are really expensive. Like if you go somewhere in fast food, you could spend like $10 for the whole family, or else you have to spend more money at the store and the preparing, and the healthier foods, they go bad quickly. So if you buy processed stuff, then that food will last a long time for your family and it's easier to afford that. So a lot of the problem with obesity is that people can't afford to live healthy. Another problem with obesity is that a lot of people are becoming obese because of the way that their parents are feeding them when they're younger. Because a lot of the times when you become obese, you're already getting there at a younger age as a child, in the way that your parents are feeding you foods that they think are good for you, but a lot of the times parents don't know what is healthy because they haven't been taught that. So I think another problem with obesity is the government, the way that agriculture and the way that they produce corn, but then they also use it to put it in processed foods, which makes people really unhealthy and obese. And a lot of people think that the stuff is healthy, but it's not good for you, and it's making people really heavy. And I just think that if they cut down on the types of foods that were processed and had like really high sugars in them, because I think that America lives on a high sugar diet, and that's only going to make people really heavy, even though they might not want to be heavy, might want to lose weight, and they start cutting back on all their calories. I think that all the foods that are out there are horrible for you, that are making people fat. And the only way to live healthy is to eat vegetables and meat and stuff like that. And with all the processed foods that are out there that are claiming that they're healthy, they're not even healthy. So a lot of people are thinking that, that things are healthy, and they're not really educated well enough to know what's healthy and what's not. And just reading a label isn't going to mean, or doesn't mean, that it's considered healthy just because it says that it's natural. I just think that people just need a better education on what these labelings mean, because people are trying to be healthier for their families, but the kind of mislabeling and kind of like making people think that they're healthy is actually making people fat. And that's what I think that obesity is, and the problems with it, and the way that, people are just really confused on how to be healthy and what's good and what's not, because all of the mislabeling. Thank you.